And then when you go to Matthew 24, Jesus is speaking to, or Yeshua is saying, there's going to come a time where people will begin to suffer you affliction, or they will hand you over to suffer affliction in these last days. And many people are going to be offended and repelled. And they're going to begin to distrust and desert him who they ought to trust and obey. And so it's saying in the last days, you're going to, at first he says there's going to be wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, pestilence. He says you're going to see all kinds of signs taking place. And he said, but that's not it yet. He says, then they will hand you over. He says, then there's going to come a time where believers who seemed protected by God are now going to be handed over to suffer affliction. And he says, there's going to be a group of people who at one point attempted to trust and did trust, but they're going to desert not you, but him who they ought to trust and obey, and will stumble and fall away and betray one another. In other words, you can't betray until you can't truly really betray someone unless you have fallen away from the center or your center of who God is supposed to be for you. And so he was saying there are going to be a group of people who did not get their fill of God's Spirit with the water of God's Spirit. They were not filled with God's Spirit, and then therefore they're going to try to look for ways to feel good about themselves, and they're going to choose the avenue of betrayal, and they'll even pursue you with hatred, and many false prophets will rise up and deceive many into error. And so it's saying that what's going to happen is that we're in a season where there's no such thing as loyalty anymore. This is the age of disloyalty. Loyalty has become lusty. Loyalty has become about being what you want, loyal to who and what you want at that time. That's what loyalty has become about. So loyalty is no longer, the men of our generation don't even know what it means to be a stand-up type of dude anymore. The stand-up type of dude is in a rare breed. Although we are still here, but we are now outnumbered by many who used to believe God, but now fell into the deception of lust of this world, the deception of the pride of life, the eyes and the pride of life, and the envy and the wanting, and they've fallen into what this culture has told us what a man is. So therefore, we don't, as a group of men right now, many of us, in terms of the way we're acting, we don't even despise the loyalty that our ancestors, and I'm not just talking about those who were lost here in the United States due to racism and oppression, but I'm talking about our original fathers, not the founding fathers of the Constitution, but the founding fathers of this earth, the black man. And so what is happening right now is that we're in a season of betrayal, and even your sons don't even know what loyalty is because they were betrayed by the most important man in their life, called their dad. 95% of us grew up without a father in our home. Almost 98% of all black homes are without a father. So if there's no loyalty, a man now only knows if a man is not there to teach you loyalty, then you are loyal to your mother's spirit. So many of us as men, our women are so messed up because we have become mama's boys. Meaning we are so attuned to the spirit of a female, and we have been so trained to be attuned to the spirit of a female that we cannot stand as men because we don't know what the stance is, because we were never raised by men. We ain't never seen a man. Many of you as women were betrayed by your dad, so therefore, even when it comes to loyalty, you really don't understand what it looks like. And if you do see it, you can't interpret it because you interpret it with suspicious eyes. So he says there's going to be terrible times in the last days. And he said many people will be offended and they will fall away and betray one another, hate one another. Have you ever thought about why bullying is at an all-time high? Because everybody's hating on everybody. Everybody has pure hatred right now. The things that, listen, it used to be a time you'd have to back them words up. Do you remember that time? That you couldn't just say anything about anybody and just get away with it. But this daggone social media, you can get blah, 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 and type all this stuff, send, post, and then it's done. Are y'all listening to me? It's done. And then you're trying to figure out what is the problem? What is happening? Why am I going through this? What is happening? Why am I here? See, sister, you got to understand this crisis that we're experiencing is the betrayal of male man. You ain't crazy. I love black men. I ain't love black men as much as you loved black men, but I love black men, and in loving them, they'll drive you crazy. Ask that one over there. She loved me. No, I tried to drive her crazy. I remember the day we're in the house arguing. She's saying, leave me alone. And she screams a blood-curdling scream. Leave me alone. She's about to lose her mind. But I'm following her around the house because I got to get my point heard. So when you hear this message come, this message ain't coming from some book. This message is coming from experience. This message is coming from somebody who almost lost their best friend for life. On several occasions. When they offend, I'm going to put you in the, I betrayed that woman's trust at times. But now let me put you in the mindset of your male man or the person that you would like to spend time with or some people you've tried to spend time with. And this can go to mothers, fathers, everybody, with all relationships. But let me put you into their life. You grow up in a home where the mother ain't speaking truth. You know it because you got all duded up and all prettied up because he wants to introduce you to his mommy. And them first few meetings are great. But you go and tell your friends, this chick is crazy. I now understand why he's going through what he's going through. Because sometimes the pillow talk come back and you see the little things that she's doing. And you see, I can see how she drove him crazy. Hi, Ma, how you doing? Give me a hug, Ma. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Don't believe a word of what you just did. The great pretender. See, because if he grew up in a home where truth was not accepted, he grew up in a place where self-preservation was the Holy Spirit for him. So when he betrays you, it's got nothing to do with you. It has to do with he is now in a situation that reminds him, that makes him feel like he's trapped. And no matter how much you think he is out to get you, he's out not to feel truth. And betrayal keeps me from having to feel a truth that you bring to me. See, we're going to get to the point where you're going to realize they don't want what you're trying to bring. Because if they did, they asked for it. Psalms 55, verse 1, listen to my prayer, O God, and hide not yourself from my supplication. Attend to me and answer me. I am restless and distraught in my complaint and must moan. I am distracted and the noise of the enemy because of the oppression and the threads of the wicked, for they would cast trouble upon me and in wrath they persecute me. My heart is grievous, and pain within me, and the terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling have come upon me. Horror and fright have overwhelmed me. And I say, oh, that I had wings like a dove, that I would fly away and be at rest. Yes, I would wander far away, and I would lodge in the wilderness. Selah, pause, calmly think about this. What he is saying, has anybody ever left work? Has anybody ever was on their way home? Anybody ever walked out and was on your way home and for that one moment decided, I ain't going back? Has anybody said, I ain't going? Has anybody done what I've done? I just want to know, have you ever decided, it's so much pain going on, I ain't going home? Anybody ever found themselves sitting somewhere trying to figure out what's going on here? What's going on in my life? Why am I here? Anybody ever sat there and figured, if I just stay gone long enough, they'll miss me? Anybody been there? Anybody been there where you're just sitting there and you're trying to figure out what's wrong, what's happening? You've been rocking. Have you ever just been sitting there and looking around saying, God, what I don't understand? Nobody's ever just recounted everything that you did for people. And then you're telling yourself, I didn't even do that so they could do this for me. I did it because I was loving them. Why can't I not get that back? I'm the only one that sat in that car and trying to figure out what's happening, don't want to go home, and then talking about, you better go home. You're about to get robbed. You sitting in some parking lot, police rolling up. Nobody been there. Police rolling up. You okay? Shining light. I'm good. Tears coming down, snotting. You want to just go hug on them? Can you help me, please? There's nobody just met a stranger and just poured your heart out to a stranger. And when you finish, I don't even know how I told him all that. And the stranger looking at you talking about, oh, I was just trying to ask what time it was. But you just had to let it. Hey, come on now, I'm the only one. Ain't nobody in Atlanta. Atlanta, you ain't never been through this. I'm the only one that sat there trying to figure out, how in the world am I here? How did I get here? Why am I here? See, because betrayal is the ultimate abandonment of covenant. Proverbs chapter 19, I believe. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 19. A brother offended is harder to win than a strong city. The contentious are like the bars of a castle. And so when a person is offended, it says they are trapped behind bars. They are trapped behind walls. When you meet me as a man, you make my walls disappear. You make those bars disappear. And for the brief time when we first get together, be a year, 2 years, however long it is, while it's good, those bars disappear. But then I slip into my unconscious mind of who I was before I met you, and the bars reappear. And now you are no longer the one who frees me, but you are the one who is now trapped behind the bars with me. So now I see you as my enemy, and I treat you as my enemy as I treated my family before thee. Do I mean to do this? No, it's in my nature to do it, because my betraying you is about my self-preservation. I ain't thinking about you. I'm thinking about feeling better. So when you're dealing with somebody who is self-absorbed, and this world is now self-absorbed, then you're going to have a lifetime of bitterness, resentment, unforgiveness, and hatred, and stumbling, and when you're offended, hindrances and stumbling blocks causes your energy to be given in taking offense. See, many of us, we don't realize that their energy becomes our energy. Now we're suspicious. I was thinking in prayer before I came out here. I don't know how I can convey, God, but somehow I'm trying to convey to some people that when you trust somebody, it's hard to be in a relationship with somebody you don't trust. No. Hopefully I'm trying to get across. I don't know if I'm trying to get across this impression I have where you love the person, but you got to be careful with what you say. That means there's some trust that ain't there. If you can't be fully free with your words, then there's something going on. No, listen. If you can't be free with how you feel, your feelings ain't fact, but you can't even talk without the conversation becoming some 25-hour dissertation on how they still love you, but they just trying to get you to understand how you feel. You trying to get to understand how you feel, you've missed it. They don't care how you feel. They can't care. To care would mean they'd have to care for all that other stuff that they have chosen not to care for. You didn't raise them. You didn't cause the abandonment in their life whenever you weren't there. You ain't known them but X amount of time. You wasn't born with them. Y'all ain't twins. And so they'll constantly have your energy in deception. When you deal with somebody, I'm not trying to demonize them. I'm just saying when you deal with somebody who chooses survival over love, who chooses immediate pleasure over long-term discomfort, then what's going to happen, the energy of your relationship will constantly be in deception. And many of your other relationships will be tainted by deception. Whatever untruth you're willing to allow in your life is the untruth that you will live. And it says, verse 11, 24, verse 11, and false prophets will rise up and deceive and lead many in error. So this is saying that once, so you got to understand, once they have deserted their God, listen, when a person can do some of the things or say some of the things or act some of the ways they have acted towards you, they have abandoned God. Because a person with a conscience, a God conscience, would not say the words that they say, would not do the things that they do. But you don't want to accept reality as it is. You want to accept the reality that you heard pre-sexual activity. Lord have mercy, I can't hold it back no more. And if it wasn't sexual activity, sometimes you're trying to hold on to something that you thought was good, but was really bad, that you was calling good, although it made you continually feel bad. It takes spiritual warfare to truly love somebody. No. It's hard enough to love somebody who loves you. Come on now. It's hard enough to love somebody who loves you. It's even harder to love somebody who say they love you but keep demonstrating that they don't. See, you got to get to the point where you realize you have become easy prey. You are easy like Sunday morning. See, you got to get to the point, I'm not telling you to be suspicious of people, but you got to understand, listen, why you keep allowing that energy to make you all disturbed? Because when it's good, it's good. When it's good, it's good, man. When you with a self-absorbed person, they ain't some kind of monster, some kind of witch. Your mother ain't some kind of witch. Your father ain't some type of monster. If your problems with your father, problems with your mother, problem with your boyfriend, problem with your girlfriend, problem with your sister, problem with your brother, problem with your uncle, problem with your aunt got problems with another aunt, these sisters got problems with them. Listen, whatever the situation is, when it's good, it's good. But what happens is you become hooked on their opinions. And when you become hooked on somebody else's opinion about a situation, their demons become your demons. See, my biggest problem is that their demons became my demons. See, you got to understand. All right, thank you, Holy Ghost. See, there's some people that won't fight their spiritual battle of warfare, and so they hook your attention so you can fight what they won't fight. The day you realize, you said yourself, they have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose. Never deal with a person who ain't got nothing to lose. because losing you ain't nothing. Although I say it cost me, if I really wanted you, I would have paid the cost. You find yourself defending your beliefs to someone who don't care about your beliefs. And what you got to understand, start looking at a lot of your arguments. Your arguments are about your beliefs. They're demonstrating in their actions. They're demonstrating in their behavior. They're demonstrating in their tone. They don't believe what you believe. And so now this chaos that you have is about a belief system that they're trying to get you to bend your story to their delusions. So say, stop the madness. Say, I need to stop this madness. Then get rid of your need to be right and make everybody else wrong. You know why you hanging in there? Because you hoping that sooner or later they're going to find out that you right. How long you going to wait for that moment? I'm 6 years behind doing what I'm supposed to do because I waited on some individuals on something, and when they get this together, then we going to do this. Listen, if they ain't got it together by the time they get with you, it ain't going to get it together through you. So when you need to be right, this is why you hang in there, because you can't walk away from something that ain't completed. See, you done set in your mind that when they get right, I'll be complete. You better be complete before they get right, because they ain't gonna never get right if it needs you to get complete. You ain't that powerful enough. That's why you going to Jesus. And so if Jesus can't help them, then what you thinking you gonna help them for? I'm just only telling you what you already know. You've had these conversations with the Spirit. I ain't telling you nothing. I ain't saying nothing you ain't never heard before. You are just understanding and agreement with what I'm saying. He ain't never lied. Some people talk, wait, was he in my house? What is happening? I wasn't in your house. God has been all up in your relationship, but he had to bring the world to a point of called last days so you would finally listen to what he'd been trying to tell you for the last 150 odd days that you wasn't listening. Y'all ain't listening to me. You had to get yourself out of this insane trap, this cycle of trying to make somebody line up. When I want you, I'm going to do what I got to do to get you. When I want you, I'm going to do what I got to do to keep you. When I want you, I'm going to do what I got to do not to lose you. When I want you, even when I messed up, I'm going to do what I got to do because I want your presence. When I want you, I want your company. I just don't want your body. I want the love that I got in the beginning. When I want you, I'm willing to give myself up and die for you. You only accept that they don't want you. Let's get out the relationship. You don't accept that your mother don't want to be right. Love her. God bless her, but she don't want to be what? Your parents, that's where they at. So now you're easily offended. Now you're selfish. Now you're insecure. Now you're negative. Now you're an easy mark for the enemy. Now you're miserable. Now you're hindering your plan. You're hindering God's plan for your life. Now you're unwise. Now you're not free. Now the reason you're not free because you can't do this. I think I'm in 2 Samuel. I can't remember the chapter, but you find it. Just Google it. Where David is standing in front. It's the David and Goliath story. And David, the men, Goliath is challenging the men to a battle, and he's huge. And all the men, there's a big battle line drawn on each side, and Goliath saying, which one of you all are going to come and fight me? Which one of you are going to do this? And they're all trying to figure out. They've been there for 2 days trying to figure out who bold enough to go have this fight. So then David, who'd been out in the wilderness tending sheep, he ain't even one of these people who be out there fighting like that. He wasn't even trained in this area. He comes to them, and he says, hey, he hears that man talking about his God, and he says, hey, what's going to be done for the man to take him out? And so when he asked that question, his brother Eliab, who was the oldest, who his father thought was the anointed one because he looked so good in the beginning, Eliab, his oldest brother, heard what was said to to the men, and Eliab jumped in his conversation. His anger kindled against David, and he said, why did you come here? With whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know the presumption and the evilness of your heart, for you came down that you might see the battle. You ain't come here to fight. You over there talking out the side of your neck. Hey, you can't fight nobody. You was out. Look, we got all these weapons. You ain't gonna fight nobody. It ain't about fighting. What you come out here for? See, what happens, they try to hook your attention and make you believe their opinion. He's asking sincerely, I want to know. So then David looks at his older brother and he says to him, he says, what have I done now? Verse 29 says, what have I done now? Was it not a harmless question? Have you ever just needed some clarity? You listen, you was on your way. You just needed clarity. I just asked. Come on, just say, I just asked a question. No, you got to say it like when you really in it. You got to take your voice up high. Just say, go ahead, say it. I just asked a question. Even Atlanta, they laughing at that. Let's do that again so we can make ourselves laugh at this good time. Say, I was just asking a question. Now this done became a 3-hour dissertation as to why you ain't got my back. Now you done get caught up proving how you got their back. I ain't in your house, God in your house. I'm just trying to help out. Now you having this whole dissertation, but you are my sister. You having this whole dissertation on everything you done did to come through for them. And you're upset that you got to recount that because you didn't do it for that reason. And you do it and they still got a problem. Because it was never about you in the first place. It was about self-preservation. If we don't get nothing else, maybe you'll walk out of here with your self-esteem back intact. Because you can lose your confidence. These people will cause you to lose your confidence where you had all this belief and faith in God and what you were going to do, but you get caught up with their energy and you start asking yourself, what is the use? Is it worth it? Should I continue? What should I do? Why am I here? Why? See, I don't know about you, but I believe you're the type of person when I'm in, I'm all in. I'm all in. So if I'm all in, how come you ain't all in? He says it was a harmless question. And then it says, and then David turned away from Eliab to another, and he asked the same question. And the men gave him the same answer. You got to get to a point that when you realize that's dark, you got to turn on a dime and go to the next. They say the same thing. You got to do this one alone. See, in the last days, there's going to be so much betrayal that even your cousins, your niece, people you helped out, people you did things for, family members, all of a sudden just going to take advantage of you, and then they're going to tell a story. They ain't going to tell you how you paid the rent. They ain't going to tell you how you loaned the money. They ain't going to tell you how you was there when they was going through and you went over and hugged them all night and you had to get up to go to work the next day, but you was afraid that they was going to commit suicide. I know somebody that been here. They ain't telling them all the stuff that you did. They just telling them about the one little time you decided to speak up and not be a doormat. See, the day you realize that your freedom is their loss of control. Got that from my wife. Your freedom is their loss of control. The day they can't control you no more, they can no longer be free. Their freedom is based upon being able to control you and have you dominated by their opinions of who you think they are. They ain't evil, they just doing self-preservation because they have decided you can't be in my world thinking straight. This is some simple stuff right here. Hey, but you know I'm blessed for? I'm blessed that after all this mess I done been through over these 25 years, I can say, God, you so good. I can get up here and stand here with my hand held high and feel 3 inches tall. It ain't got nothing to do with these boots. I just feel so much better. That's why I'm trying to pass the savings on to you. Come on, we almost there. So you got to say, I got to be able to walk away. Say, I got to be able to walk away. Now, I said this in the last 3 weeks. Your problem is you can't be alone. When you can't be alone, you can't walk away. See, you got to understand what you're trying to keep going. Maybe God is trying to make you stop going. Maybe he wants you to be to yourself. Maybe he wants you just to be able to call on him. Maybe he don't want you to text nobody else. Maybe he don't want you to group text or post this on Facebook and get a like. Maybe he wants you to get his love. I'm telling you, I feel good. Come on. Now can I answer why you can't walk away? Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed? Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed? Will a lion roar in the forest when he has no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he has taken nothing? Can a bird fall into a snare upon the earth where there is no trap for him? Does not the trap spring up from the ground? Does not this trap spring up from the ground when nothing at all has sprung it? You have to, he says, can you walk unless you have been agreed? So the word in Hebrew, agreed, reading from right to left, yud, arm, work, yud, that's the arm, in hand in the fire, hand in the work. Eye to see, eye to experience. Ayin, that's the middle word. And then that word with, it looks like it's really the door and the flap of a door. So that means door or pathway. So when the word agree means my arm is in the fire of life as I produce my life. Ayin, my eyes see and experience the pathway or the door. So therefore, the word ayin or the word agree is to really mean, it's the Hebrew pronunciation is mokesh or mokesh. And it really means an appointment, an assembly. And so when you are in agreement with somebody, you are in place for a common purpose. You are in place and coming together to assemble with somebody who has the same belief. And then if you look at the root of, so let's go back. So therefore, if I'm in agreement with you, then my eyes see the pathway of the door as I walk hand in hand with you. So to be in agreement is that when you walked into this door, for whatever reasons, unless you walk out right this very second because you're upset with what I'm saying, you are not in agreement. When you walk into your house, you are in agreement with that place being your home. When you get into your car, you are in agreement with that is your car. When you go to your job, you are in agreement with the people who are in that building that I agree that my living, my paycheck, my livelihood comes from this. Say, I am in agreement. And so now I want you to understand he says, can two walk together lest they have agreed? He says, can two walk together lest they have agreed? He says, can two walk together lest they have agreed? Mimi, come here. He says, can two walk together? Don't worry about it. She's coming. Can she walk with me unless she has agreed? I ain't dragging her. Can two walk together lest they have what? Don't agree, Mimi. Can two walk together lest they have what? This is how many of our relationships look. You trying to get them to walk the straight and the narrow. You trying to get them to walk the path of reality, but they don't want to walk the path. Can two walk together lest they have what? Agree. Agree with me, please. No, you're still resisting. Agree. Can two walk together lest they have what? Agree. Are y'all with me? We could do this all day. You got to ask, are you doing the dance of agreement when you don't agree? if you look at the root word of agreement, the root of that word agreement, then what you find is the root word is ayin dalit, which means to witness repeatedly. So therefore, when I'm in agreement, I witness repeatedly the path, the door that I should take. But for the purpose of this teaching, I don't take it because I want to stay in agreement. So therefore, a breakdown in Greek. To be agreed is for me to have my hand and my energy and my arm in the fire of life. That is giving my life's energy to the one my eyes are focused on. Experience the path we're on, seeing the door repeatedly, continually assembling with them, for we have one common purpose, a bond and an appointed time, and we do the same thing over repeatedly. Did y'all hear that? Agreement means an appointment, which means you keep showing up for that appointment. If you are dark, or if they are dark, if your eyes are dark, if the light within your eyes are dark, how great is that darkness? If they are dark and you're agreeing with them, does that make you dark? Answer that question. It says, don't be unequally yoked with somebody who don't have the same belief system with you. For their partnership, what partnership does right living and right standing with God have with iniquity and lawlessness? Or can light have fellowship with darkness? See, my problem is I'm trying to have harmony with darkness and I'm the light. See, you're going to finally have to accept you're the light. And when you're the light, people want you to agree with them so they can feel like the light. And when they were with you for that brief amount of period, you were their light. But now that you're no longer in agreement with them, they feel light without you. Weight, they feel as heavy because your presence made them feel God, because they ain't going to God themselves. I'm almost finished. So when I agree, I make an appointment. That means that I begin to take it personally in my soul what they're saying. And when I take personally in my soul what they're saying, I begin to take responsibility for their actions. My biggest problem in being offended is that you begin to take responsibility for actions that had nothing to do with you. You find yourself trying to figure out, what did I do wrong? You find yourself screaming in the car. You find yourself trying to figure out, how did I get here? Because you are offended, and now you're trying to figure out how to make this better. Their world is no longer your world. It was your world, but it's no longer your world. Your worlds crossed at one point, but when it comes to the point that their world is no longer your world, then you got to let them live in their world, and you got to live in your world. So Joseph said to them, Joseph is betrayed. Joseph is hurt. Joseph's betrayed and hurt. He's been thrown into the well by his brothers because his brothers is envious. The day you come to understand you may not have nothing, but people just envious of the peace that you do have. Because the peace that you do have, they don't have. And until they can rob you of your peace of mind, they have no peace of mind. You understand? They are assigned to turn you up so that you can feel turned out, and so that they can keep going on and still live without God. You got to come to a conclusion that, as Joseph did, he was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a well. Say, thrown to the bottom of a well. Say, to the bottom of a well. He was left to die. Listen, and then he's now sold into slavery. I want y'all to understand, he is now having to do the chores and the duties of a person who bought him, and he has to give up his will to be with them now. And he now has to do what they have to do. He has little slave quarters, and he's got to clean the house and do whatever his master tells him to do. And then he's now betrayed by his master's wife, because his master's wife wants to get with him. So then he runs and she rips his clothes off, and then she's so ashamed because she betrays him and then tells the whole community, he tried to rape me. So he's betrayed by his brothers, betrayed when he tells his dream, betrayed when he's thrown to the bottom. He's betrayed now by Potiphar's wife. And so now he's sold into slavery again. No, he's thrown into prison. And so then he's in prison for some years. Now these are some of the best years of his life, so he thinks. These are some of the best years of his life, so he thinks. These are some of the best years of his life, so he thinks. These years that he's going through trouble are some of the best years of his life, and he has the ability, and you can get into his mind and understand he's probably thinking to himself, hey, listen, I'm in the prime of my life, and it's as if this is over. I give up. And then he gets one more opportunity to interpret a dream of somebody. And when he gets the opportunity to interpret the dream of somebody, he says, hey, listen, when you tell the king what the interpretation of the dream is, don't forget me, remember me down in here. The person goes up, tells the king the dream, they get to get out of prison and forget him. He's betrayed again. Say betrayed again. Betrayed again. And then finally his time comes. Say my time is here. Say it's on its way. Say the fact that I'm hearing this message lets me know that my breakthrough is on its way. So I want you to understand that now he's betrayed, and at this point he could be depressed, but they said he kept a good attitude, and then he gets one more opportunity to interpret something. Somebody remembers him, and then all of a sudden the king says, the dream that you interpreted, I'm now going to put you in charge. So then Joseph takes in charge, and he says it's going to be 7 years of famine, 7 years of feast, and 7 years of famine. And he says in them 7 years of feast, they're going to do like this, but we need to prepare for the famine. And so he starts preparing for the famine, and they get 2 years within the famine, and then his brothers show up. And when his brothers show up, they come in, and they're just trying to get help and get something to eat. They don't even recognize him. They don't even understand that, wait a minute, this is our black brother standing here. Joseph was truly black. This is our black brother that was standing here. And they say, they don't even know. Joseph turned around, he begins to weep. And then when they realize that it is their brother who they thought they killed. Now, when I say who they thought they killed, I want you to see in that story betrayal. People can betray you, and they go on with their life, and they forget about you. They never think no more about you anymore. Did you hear me? They can betray you and go on their life and never think about you and think that you was dead because they wasn't thinking about you in the first, because it never had nothing to do with you. It had to do with the anger that they were trying to extinguish in their own life. And so therefore Joseph betrays him. And after they betray Joseph, and then now they're looking at him, they're getting ready to get upset. They're getting ready to get bothered. They're getting ready to get messed up because they say he gonna kill us. We know he gonna kill us because we threw him to the bottom. Say the bottom of the well. Say we threw him to the bottom of the well. Say we threw him to the bottom of the well. So now they know that. And then Joseph looked at them and said, God sent me here before you. He comes back in another time and says, it was God who sent me here to prepare. He looks at them and says, don't worry, I'm good. Y'all ain't getting it. See, there comes a time when you can go back and look in your life and realize, wait a minute. It was good. I know you was trying to kill me emotionally. I know you tried to destroy my soul from this high. I know you've been going at me all my life, but it's all good because God sent me here. And you are nothing but a step, a step, a step, a step, a step, a step, a step. You ain't nothing but a step to my victory. That's all you were. You ain't nothing but a credit in my script. Come on, you better hear what I'm saying. You ain't nothing but a credit in my movie. You're a credit that run at the end of the movies. You ain't nothing but a grip. You just carried some wires. You just helped me put some cameras in place. You just helped me set this up. Y'all ain't hearing me. Y'all ain't hearing me. Y'all ain't hearing me. Listen. Started. He said, I started from the bottom. Now I'm here. Started from the bottom. Now I'm here. Started from the bottom. Now I'm here. Started from the bottom. Now my whole family here. Started from the bottom. Now I'm here. Started from the bottom. Now my whole team is here. You got to get to a point that you realize you started from the bottom, but now you here. You started from the bottom, but now you what? You started from the bottom, but now you what? And God put me here. You started from the bottom, but now you can position your whole family today. You started from the bottom. Now you can put everybody in place. Started from the bottom. Now I'm here. You got to get to the point that you started from the bottom, and the whole purpose was to bring you here. God bless you. Come on up, baby.